Good afternoon, good evening, folks. So, just going to do a trade breakdown of my buy on pound yen today. So, this trade I took at 7 a.m. and this was a losing trade, a full 1% loss. So 4 hour bearish, 4 hour bullish. The bias is mixed. What makes more sense? Buys make more sense because we're overall bullish in the market. Just a thing to note. Yes, this 4 hour is bullish, but it kind of rejected this resistance, closed below this resistance. We've kind of struggled to close above. So just based off of this time frame, you might say, well, look, it might be best to wait for a closure outside. Any pullbacks into this area, look to buy. We jumped to the 1 hour. This is how the wick was created on that 4 hour. We sort of broke out, pulled back. 30-minute, again, broke out, pulled back, formed a support. So if I just skip the 7 o'clock, this is how we looked on the 30-minute chart. Now, to me, this is really attractive from a structure perspective. Now, I kind of forget we're in a range, right? Now, if this is sort of the stuff I like to see, you know, we're moving up, we break out, we pull back the previous level of structure, we try to break down with this candle, and we fail, and we actually change structure on the 15-minute with this candle in line with the direction that we want to go, which is bullish. And to me, this looked like a good trade to trade up to the target. We have clean candles here, which we have pushed out, come back in. So this 4 hour resistance, although this candle closed below, isn't sort of something I'm concerned about. And the reason is because these two candles here kind of moved out and back in without any sort of issue in terms of reaction in here on these candles. So if I kind of just skip through to my trade, this is my trade. As we can see, the next candle broke the high and then pulled down. So from a structure perspective, it made sense to take the buy as price, you know, close with a nice 30-minute candle close. It looked like a breakout in the pullback, and price is leaving the daily zone and rejecting the daily support. So that's what I'd like to see. But this was a loss. Looking back on this trade and sort of in the moment when I was taking it, you know, why didn't I manage loss? Could I manage my downside? Excuse me. I was putting my trust in this 30-minute candle. Because just because this candle closed above this candle, we changed structure to the upside. It's formed a support, but the support isn't confirmed. You know, the support would be confirmed with a second bullish candle. Kind of like this, for example, like this candle forms a support, and then next candle confirms the support by respecting the low of the previous and closing bullish. So this one, we broke the high. I'm thinking that's a good sign in terms of upside. We pull down. I'm saying to myself, well, we've got Asian low here. Could we maybe react off here, react off the daily level, and maybe push like this, or at least respect the support low? But price just continued to tank, and you know, I said to myself, you know, just trust your analysis, just let the trade play out. And price pushed down and took out my stop. So if I'm reflecting on this trade and I'm saying to myself, well, how could I have managed my downside? What could I have done? If I look at this on the 15-minute time frame, what I see is, well, this is our change in structure on the 15-minute. So this is our most recent 15-minute sort of structure. What I could have said was, well, on the next candle, if the next candle starts breaking back into this zone, there's probably a good chance that we might test the bottom of the zone. So if we start to break back in, or maybe break the low, I could close. Now, when I say maybe break the low of the previous, I probably wouldn't close if we broke the low, because we sort of have a safety net of the daily support, Asian low support, that we could just break and then push from. So I think probably the best thing for me managing this trade would have been, well, if we break back into the zone below Asian low, you know, I could have cut the trade there. So reflecting back, there was an option for me to manage the trade and lose less than I set out to lose, probably lose like 0.5%. So that's a good thing. There's a learning in this trade, and there's something that I could have done that I could maybe take forward going into the remainder of the week and future trades and things like that from a management perspective. Just another thing to note as well, just from speaking with the guys in the community, mentor and things like that. This trade was at 7 o'clock, which typically isn't too early to take a trade, because the session starts at say 6, half 6, and usually 7 o'clock, half 7 can provide really nice opportunities to get into a trade like before London and kind of get into a good position leading into the volume that's expected to come at the open. However, as this year's went on, the sort of better opportunities have been coming later. They've typically been coming after half 7, between sort of half 7 and 9. So on that basis, this is an early opportunity. So from a structure perspective, breaking out, pulling back, forming supports, leaving zones, it looks really nice. It's what I like to see. However, it's just a little bit early. Okay, so that's something I've made a note of that I'm going to pay close attention to the remainder of this week. Is there any opportunities that do come at 7? Do they play out? Yes, no. And the bias on this session today was mixed. We had a bearish 4-hour and a bullish 4-hour. So an opportunity that comes at 7 might be a better opportunity, for example, with a bias that is say bullish or a bias that is bearish rather than mixed. As well as that, we still are within the range. Okay, so yes, we have broken out pullback, but we still are within the overall range. And I know myself, I am not very good at range trading. Typically when I range trade in the past, it's always something that comes up. I don't tend to take many range trades. However, when I do, they're not really successful. And it always is something I've come back to and says, well, do you know what? I'm not going to take any more range trades. But setups, come in certain ranges are different to others. And actually, when I look at this range, to me, this is a sort of, if I let me just scroll this, we sort of have ranges within this range, because like this is the range here, right? You could then say, well, look, this is a range, right? So if we're sort of looking at, let me just change this to black. If we're coming to the market and we see this, to me, I'm looking at this is a range, right? So we obviously have like ranges within ranges, and it's probably not even a good idea to be sort of banned. Like when I'm sort of explaining this, it kind of just adds more confidence to not take a trade for me. But what I was sort of paying attention to this morning was like this range here, and then as price broke out of this range, and then we started to pull back, and then we formed a support leaving the range again. I was saying to myself, well, if I enter a trade here and say, for example, we get to here, but later on in the day we maybe end up here, if I'm reflecting back on my session or the day, and I'm like, well, where did the move actually start from? Well, the move started from here when we broke out of the zone and pulled back to get that continuation and that extension. So what I was thinking to myself was, well, this might be not, because just as I'm saying this, it sort of clicked in my head that we don't want to be in the start of the move or the end of the move. We want to be capturing like the middle of the move. So if this is the start of the move and this is the end of the move, kind of forecast on where price might go today if we continue bullish, then technically I should be wanting to trade maybe somewhere in here, because this is the middle of the move. And if I wait to then, I not only have better confirmation of price direction, because if we are up here, let me just change this color, because if we are up here, I've been able to see the price is broken out, so I have a confirmed direction. Then I just have to wait for structure, and then I can buy that. So definitely a lot of lessons learned on this trade today, which is quite good. Don't get me wrong, when I did lose, I was frustrated. I wasn't frustrated because I lost or because I lost money, but it was due to, what I wanted to see actually played out. I was just a little bit too early into the trade. There was an opportunity, multiple opportunities, I would say maybe two opportunities. One on the 15 minute, with this close, and when I go to the 30 minute, there's a second opportunity to take a buy on the 30 minute close. Now, I didn't take a second entry. Typically, I'll give myself two options a day. If I win a trade, I'm done. But if I lose, and maybe I get an opportunity to take a second entry with the same thought process, the same plan, I'll give that a go. But I didn't take it today because although it made sense to buy, it's the beginning of the week. I took a loss. I recognized it wasn't the best area, a little bit early. And per my weekly outlook, for easier opportunities and better confirmation of price direction, it made sense to wait for closures outside. And then if we sort of pull back and form structure in here, wherever it may be, we then have that. And it's a confirmation that we're leaving the range, and it's going to provide easier and clearer opportunities. So although taking a buy here in the 30 minute with stops below here, or taking an opportunity on the 15 minute, kind of similar to where I took my buy, but just a little bit higher, where we broke down, we struggled to actually continue, and we closed back above. This is the biggest candle on the 15 minute chart since Asian pre-London. Looking at it on the 30, there you go. It's clearly evident that there's volume in the market. We're pushing up, we're leaving zones. It makes more sense to go up. Okay, I did recognize all that, but I said to myself, you know what? Let's just sit it out. Let's price do its thing. Come back tomorrow, and then just establish and go from there. But that is my trade breakdown from today. So a full percent loss. Definitely a lot to learn. And a lot to take away. So appreciate you taking the time to watch. And I will get this uploaded, and I'll catch you in a bit. Thank you.